We're continuing to follow the levee breach that has forced an evacuation order in the Kelso Creek communities. We'll tell you how long the order is in place. And the Bakersfield Police Department releasing new numbers for vehicle thefts. We'll tell you how many cars were broken into. Plus, the fight for the high-speed rail project funding continues. We'll tell you what the director of the project did to get more funding. That's all ahead on the Now Bakersfield. Chris?
Let's get to our lineup here on the Now. An approval for the first new depression treatment in years. But it's not just drug makers addressing mental health, the new apps that are making this kind of help more affordable. And when you think of fashion designers, you probably don't picture this person. We're going to show you how an Army veteran struggling with PTSD finds peace through sewing. And we're always telling our kids, keep your hands to yourselves. But some schools are actually going the opposite direction of this, trying out what are called roughhousing zones. We're going to talk to the experts about the possible benefits of this.
Good evening. Kern County Fire is recommending evacuations for those in the Kelso Valley communities. They're also strongly being advised to leave and seek shelter away from this area. Officials are saying floodwaters are moving down Kelso Creek with serious levee breaches along the creek. Residents in the communities of Power Tracks, Weldon Valley Ranchos, and Valley Estates are recommended to evacuate as quickly as possible. The recommended evacuation means that flooding is an imminent threat, and all persons in the affected area are strongly advised to leave and seek shelter away from the area. Now, officials say a recommended evacuation will likely be the last warning that's given. And an evacuation center is located at South Fork Middle School. For evacuation assistance because of limited physical abilities, you can call this number 1-855-264-6565. If you have an emergency, you can call 911. Any other questions, you can call Kern County Information and Referral Services at 211. Well, the Now's Leah Pizzetti is live from Highway 178 near Kelso Creek Road with more, Kelso Valley Road, with more on the flooding from the levee breach and how long the evacuation is expected to be in place. Leah?
Yeah, Jessica, I'm standing on Highway 178 right now, right by Kelso Valley Road, and hopefully some cars are going to pass for me here, and you can actually see them right over there. They're going through this flooded road right now, and this is the case in many parts of the Kern River Valley. We're seeing these flooded roads from these flooded creeks. That's from a combination of this rain, and this warm rain has been causing that snow to melt, causing this flooding in the area. Now, I did just speak with the Kern County Fire Department, and they told me that actually no levee has breached. There's a risk of a levee breach, and that has what prompted these evacuation orders or these recommendations. And so once again, Kern County Fire Department telling me that it's a flood control embankment identified as a potential weak spot. That is what prompted those evacuations, and they're worried about possible erosion or water spilling over that embankment. And Kern County Fire Department also told me that they're going to have 5 extra 4-wheel drive fire engines on top of their normal staffing here in the Kern River Valley. Tonight, they're also going to be sending an extra dozer here overnight. Once again, all of those crews here overnight, just here ready on standby just in case something does happen. And we've already seen this flooding from the creeks. Once again, that levee breach, that embankment has not happened yet. It's that risk of it that we're watching for this evacuation. But once again, you can see behind me, it's a little dark right now, maybe you can't see, but this road behind me is flooded, I promise. You might not be able to see it, but it is flooded here on Highway 178, and we will continue to bring you the latest here in the Kern River Valley. Jess?
Well, Leah, just like you were seeing behind you, you did see that areas of high flowing water. So the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning. You can see this area in red. So down near Weldon and to the south, they could be seeing that flooding potential until 8:30 tonight. So that's going to be near Kelso Creek, near Weldon. You need to seek shelter or higher ground. They are talking about an evacuation center at South Fork Middle School. That would be a great place to go to make sure to get to higher ground, to get out of that, but make sure to call your loved ones that are in that area to make sure that they are staying safe, because as we look at our satellite radar right now, we do see some pockets of light rain falling just near the area of Weldon. We do see portions of moderate to heavy rainfall just off to the west, so there is a potential for more rain on the way, but I have more details on what you can expect later this evening coming up next.
And of course, Allison, for the latest developments on conditions, traffic, and warnings, you can always head to our website, turnto23.com, or you can download our 23 ABC News mobile and tablet app. We will send push alerts directly to your phone. If you have any pictures or video of the storm, you can send them to our 23 ABC Facebook page, or you can email us at news@kero.com. We're going to be bringing you the latest storm developments later in the newscast, and of course, tonight at 11. Well, Bakersfield police has released new numbers on crimes involving unlocked vehicles in the city. According to BPD, more than 4,200 people in Bakersfield reported vehicle burglaries or thefts from locked vehicles last year. Unlocked vehicles, I should say. Authorities say these are two of the most preventable crimes, and they need your help to reduce the numbers. They say you can help by not leaving valuables in your car, park in busy or well-lit areas, lock all of your doors, and set an alarm. Meantime, California high-speed rail leaders pleading to preserve federal funding for the bullet train. President Donald Trump threatened to withdraw billions of dollars in federal money for California's bullet train after Governor Gavin Newsom announced the project would be scaled down. Yesterday, the director of the project sent a letter to high-ranking D.C. officials pleading with them not to revoke the federal funds. Meanwhile, the president is threatening to make the state return the $3.5 billion that has already been awarded to the project. The train was designed to run from L.A. to San Francisco, but has been scaled back to run only from Bakersfield to Merced. In other news, the California Highway Patrol saves lives every day. But later this month, officers will honor a good Samaritan who saved someone else's life. CHP will be presenting Herbert Pineda Herrera with a certificate of recognition for a superior effort act. Back on August 28th, Herrera stopped at the scene of a traffic collision on Highway 58 east of California City Boulevard. Officials say a car collided with a fence and caught on fire. Herrera noticed the driver was still inside, and that's when he broke the car's windows and cut the driver's seatbelt before pulling him out. Now CHP is set to honor him. The ceremony is scheduled for March 20th at 10 a.m. at the Mojave CHP office.
The FDA just approved S-ketamine to help people with depression. Drugs are going to be sold as Spravato in the form of nasal spray. S-ketamine, it is related to the powerful drug ketamine. Now, we talked with a retired nurse recently who's optimistic about this new spray, and she's been getting IV ketamine treatments until now.
You feel secure and grounded, even though you're in a dream state. And in an hour, you come out of it and you're feeling better.
Now, she hopes that the new nasal spray will make this type of treatment more accessible for people. 300 million people around the world are affected by severe depression. Drug makers hope that the spray can help 30 to 40% of the patients who don't respond to antidepressants. Now, it's not just drug makers, though, that are noticing that there is a big need to help with mental health. Companies are also focusing on apps to help connect patients with therapists and coaches. National Alliance on Mental Illness reports half of all people dealing with mental health conditions in our country don't have access to treatment, and part of the reason is it's so expensive. Now, there are several apps out there like Able2. It offers mental health treatments for 8 weeks, and they say in those 8 weeks, certified mental health professionals can reduce depression, anxiety, and stress by 50%. Now, we've also told you about other apps like Basis and Talkspace. Now, just like Able2, Basis offers sessions with trained and certified specialists. It doesn't actually have a licensed therapist. Talkspace does. Psychology experts say online therapy can be beneficial in many situations, but you really should seek help if you are going through a crisis. All right, let's get back to our lineup. And if we talk about fashion designers, this is probably not who you picture.
I challenge a number of perspectives just being me, this big, bearded, long-haired biker guy.
How this Army veteran struggling with PTSD is finding peace through sewing. It's a story you'll only see on The Now. Study shedding light on mass shootings and gun laws. Study in BMJ says that states with relaxed gun laws and high rates of gun ownership have higher rates of mass shootings. Study also says the gap has widened in recent years. Researchers say that they use data from the FBI. Celebrity chef Mario Batali giving up all his restaurants. It's been more than a year since allegations of sexual misconduct came to light. Batali is selling shares in multiple restaurant groups, according to the New York Times. Well, Cuba is a country that is passionate about baseball. Now, Little League will allow Cuban players to participate in tournaments in the U.S. Now, this deal comes as the White House continues to increase tension on the Cuban government. Well, you may pick up a snack bar as a quick thing to tie you over between meals, especially if you have a busy schedule. But how healthy are they really? Now, Zany Taylor with what to look out for.
So there's lots of different snack bars on the market these days.
And when you're hungry, it can be overwhelming to pick the healthiest option.
Many of them are made from different products. So you have oat-based, nut-based. There's some new ones that are coming out that are based with egg whites for extra protein.
Registered dietitian Sarah Scheller with Rose Medical says you don't have to sacrifice taste for health, but you do have to be careful not to be tricked by the so-called health bars.
So I always recommend my patients flip it over and look at the nutrition facts.
Here are a few things Sarah says to look for. A snack bar should be around 200 calories. It should be high in fiber and have about 9 grams of protein and no more than 10 grams of added sugar. If you have no dietary restrictions, Sarah says be wary of bars that are sugar-free, fat-free, or gluten-free.
So a lot of times when they take the gluten out of a product, they have to put in salt and extra sugar to make it taste better.
Time to put Sarah's tips to the test. Take a Cliff Bar. It has 23 grams of sugar in it. A Snickers bar has less sugar than that. Another popular bar is the Fiber One bar. It's not that it's not healthy, it's just that some bars don't have enough protein or calories to hold you over to the next meal. Here are the few bars that made the cut. The Caramel, Almond, and Sea Salt bar from Kind is a great choice. It's 200 calories, 6 grams of protein, 5 grams of sugar, and it's high in fiber. Honey Almond Flax Bar by Kashi is another good one. 150 calories, 4 grams of fiber, it's low in sugar, and 7 grams of protein. Whether you like those bars or not, the next time your stomach starts to rumble, you know what to look for in a snack bar to satisfy your hunger and health. For the Now, I'm Annie Taylor.
Well, storms weren't just impacting us here. Southern California residents witnessed a powerful display in the sky when roughly 2,200 lightning strikes hit areas from Santa Barbara to LA. The lightning storms prompted the National Weather Service to alert residents to take precautions. Meanwhile, fire official Mike Eliason captured these stunning images of the light show over Santa Barbara. That's insane. We definitely saw some of that here last night, but as we take a live look at downtown Bakersfield tonight, look at that one little lonely cloud just hanging out there, Allison. We know more's on the way, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely more is on the way. We were tracking our atmospheric river event that did bring a good soaking across the county. We may have the potential to see a little bit more rain as we head into the overnight and early morning hours tomorrow. But let's talk about rain totals from this system, including last night and today. Bakersfield, more than 1 inch of rain. Delano nearing 1.5 inches. We see Tehachapi over that 1.5 inch mark, as well as Ridgecrest. But Edwards as well as Mojave did see just a little bit more than 1/2 inch of rain. So we saw that across the county, and we are seeing that flooding, those effects from this atmospheric river up in the Kern River Valley right now, where we are tracking that flash flood warning. But as you can see here in Bakersfield, looking at mostly dry conditions, but a few pockets of moderate to heavy rain are making their way toward that region where we are seeing that flooding. So just make sure that you guys are staying safe and evacuating if you live in that area. But we are tracking the chance to see just a little bit of moisture squeezed out as we head into the very early morning hours tomorrow. This is at Thursday at AM. Just looking at those cloudy skies with just a little bit more moisture, but this atmospheric river has pushed over the Great Basin. That's making way for our next system just on its heels. This one is going to be a much colder system. That means the chance of snow making its way into the county by the time you are waking up on Friday morning. If you're planning on traveling over the passes, well, we could be seeing some accumulating snow, but as we head into the afternoon hours on Friday, temperatures will be above that freezing point. So it doesn't look like that will be sticking very long, but you can see temperatures are dipping down quite low, down to 56 degrees as a high on Friday. But then we're going to be holding on to those low 60s as we head into the later portion of next week. There is a little storm on the way, but not packing as much moisture as the past one that we just saw. The Now Bakersfield will be right back.
A tough, motorcycle riding Army veteran struggling with PTSD, finding peace and a passion in an unlikely hobby, sewing. And that gift for making clothes has led to a successful fashion line. Meet designer Dwayne Topping.
I challenge a number of perspectives just being me, this big bearded, long-haired biker guy, because they always have these preconceived notions of what a biker is, or what a veteran should act like, and I'm not any of that. I ended up doing 3 tours in Iraq, almost 10 years in the military. Mentally, it was tough. And so when I came back from the 3rd tour, that's when I really sort of noticed that I was having a hard time. And I've always loved fashion, even while deployed. I came home one day, I said, I'm gonna teach myself to sew. I've always wanted to do it, so I'm gonna do it. It just, everything is right here, Just me at the sewing machine, and like you take the noise of the world and reduce it to that 6 inches in front of me. And then from there, everything's just sort of exploded. And so each one of these pieces represents a point in that journey where I was either trapped or where I was beginning to find my freedom. And I really found peace in that creative process. And so now it's evolved. I can make a garment, I can make some clothing that connects with that individual and maybe find their own voice in their own platform and find their own peace. Here's the thing about PTSD, it's not curable. You don't just walk away from it. It's up on the shelf. It's now collecting dust, but there are times where it'll come down and knock me in the head and I'll have to take a step back. But I think that's the best part about finding something that you can find your peace in, because then you can go to that and realize I have control. I can put that. Even if it falls down, I can put it back up. It's not the end of the world. This is where I found my voice. This is where I found myself, my identity, my peace. And I hope to be able to pass that along.
Really cool stuff there. All right. Important story to know here is employment scams now top the list of riskiest scams. This is according to the Better Business Bureau. BBB says that scammers often prey on people who are desperate for work, and if they're good enough, they can get you to give them the information you might give an employer, like a birth date, social security number. The BBB says one reason employment scams might top the list is really the frenzy over the Amazon headquarters. They say, though, the website Amazon.jobs is the company's only authorized job site. Well, it's the end of a fashion era. Wall Street investment bank Goldman Sachs, it just announced that it's relaxing its dress code. That dress code, typically formal buttoned-up suits, well, at least on the business side of the bank, because the tech side of the bank, it has been relaxed for a few years. The internal memo called it a firm-wide flexible dress code. Also didn't specify exactly what it means, only that all of us know what is and isn't appropriate. Now, it is thought that the change is partly due to the age of Goldman Sachs employees, because more than 75% are under the age of 40. Now, there is definitely a generation gap when it comes to dressing office appropriate. That's according to Salary.com, because 15% of workers between the ages of 18 and 25, they think their dress codes are too strict. 21% of workers 56 and older have reported coworkers inappropriate clothing to HR. Now, the Goldman Sachs memo says, keep in mind, different days and different clients might call for different levels of dress. All right, let's get back to our lineup here. And we're always telling kids, keep your hands to yourself, especially on the playground. But some schools, they're actually going the opposite direction and trying out what are called roughhousing zones. Possible benefits from this when the Now continues. Let's start the Now News feed. The government is about to give hunters freedom to go after the gray wolf. The U.S. expected to lift protections in the lower 48 states. The wolves haven't returned to some areas, but the government says the species population has recovered. Well, dogs are man's best friend, but this does come with a warning because a study in JAMA today saying the number of patients 65 and older with fractures related to walking dogs on leashes is climbing. It's more than doubled from 2004 to 2017. Doctors say the majority of injuries they saw were hip injuries. Well, history in space this month, the first all-women spacewalk scheduled for March 29th. 2 NASA astronauts will do it at the International Space Station. Take a look at this. Goodyear getting ready for flying cars, creating a tire for them just in case. This is called the Goodyear Aero. The airless tire, would double as a propeller, flipping the wheel and then sending it upwards, like straight out of the Jetsons. Yeah, the Aero is just in the design stage right now. Goodyear's chief technology officer says all of this meant to spark a discussion about the future. Well, keep your hands to yourself. That is something parents and teachers, they find themselves saying a lot to kids. But at some elementary schools in Canada, they're actually encouraging students to get physical with each other in designated roughhousing zones. Canadian Broadcasting Corporation reports these areas of the playground are supervised by an adult who can step in if needed. Kids are allowed to grab, tackle, wrestle each other, but punching, biting, things like that are off limits. And before any child's allowed to participate, they have to go through a training with a PE teacher in order to know what's appropriate. Now, why in the world would they allow this? Well, experts say there can be a benefit to children's rough play. It helps build emotional intelligence. Also being able to read what the other child is going to do next, and it makes them happy by activating play circuits in the brain. It can even help them make ethical decisions by holding back when playing with a smaller child, just like a parent does with their own children. A lot of us would love to travel more, but let's face it, that can be pretty expensive. So what if you could travel the world by taking care of other people's pets? Tomorrow on The Now, you're going to meet somebody who's doing just that and how this deal could work for you.
Coming up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11, a local couple reunites in Kern County and a unique proposal was recently made. We'll tell you all about that special idea tonight on 23 ABC News at 11. In the meantime, we are continuing to track the latest with those evacuation orders and the flash flood warning.
We are seeing that in the area near Weldon. That red area on the screen is where we could be seeing high flowing water as we head into the evening hours tonight. So make sure that you are seeking shelter or higher ground. There is an evacuation center at South Fork Middle School. Now, we are relatively dry across county as we head into the evening and early morning hours tomorrow, but our next storm is bringing showers to us here in the valley, but that rain could be turning into snow, even along the passes by Friday morning.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. That's going to do it for us on The Now. We'll see you at 11.